Sup people, it's your boy Slide. In this video, I'm going to talk about the current frustrations in society. So, in case you people haven't noticed, we are living in a hyper-inflated economy. So, if you don't know how to survive or you don't have the right job skills, it's going to be very tough. A lot of people you see today are frustrated because many people do not have enough disposable income. You pay your rent, you pay your bills, you pay your debt, and you realize you don't have much money left over. This is what's going on. I live in Seattle, and Seattle's economy is so inflated right now. If you don't have the right job skills, you're not going to survive out here. And if you go up north, you have Vancouver. Vancouver's economy is also hyper-inflated, that many people can't even afford the rent there. That's just the way it is. Okay? So what's going on is we have all these high-end companies that are playing a role in the increased cost of living. It doesn't matter if the economy keeps growing. It doesn't matter if things are becoming more difficult. If you don't have the right skills, people are not really going to give you a helping hand. It's more like acquire the skills, then people will work with you. If you look at job applications, see, getting a job today is very difficult. Unless you're doing healthcare. Jobs are difficult because there are so many applicants that your application doesn't mean nothing to nobody. Okay? Then you have to understand when you apply for a job, jobs do not care about your qualifications. They look for reasons to disqualify you before giving you an interview. People need to understand this. If you have a bad credit score, companies are not going to hire you. Okay? But of course they won't tell you that. They're not going to tell you because you have a bad credit score, we are not going to hire you. They don't say that. All they're going to say to you is, you don't meet our criteria, or they're going to say, we found another applicant who can fill up the position. So when you apply for jobs, you don't get a call back. There's a high possibility it's because of your credit score. Also, you have to understand that applying for a job these days, you have to worry about discrimination. It can be based on your gender, where you come from, it can be anything. And the part that's so disappointing is that even though people see these external factors being a problem, a lot of people don't really care too much. Like, if you told people right now you can't find a job, even though you applied for like 100 or 200 jobs, they're just going to look at you like, oh man, that's unfortunate. But they're not going to mess with you. I've said this before in the past, where if you're not successful, people don't want to hear why you're not successful. Okay, there are so many people, especially smart people out here, who cannot find decent paying jobs. And as a prime example of myself living in a fast growing economy like Seattle, it's survival of the fittest. If you don't have the right skills, you're not going to make it out here. You can argue this point all you want. If you don't have the right skills, you will not make it out here. And there's one thing you have to understand also, is that many people today are failures. Okay? They're failures. And if you go online, you will not find one article that will give you details on how you know someone failed in life. Because it's politically incorrect to call someone a failure. But you have to understand something. I know failures when I see one. Okay? Okay, let me give you an example of a failure. If you're past age 50 and you're working minimum wage, you're a failure. Sorry. No discussions on that topic. No discussions. Because minimum wage, you cannot live off minimum wage. I don't care what anybody says. You cannot live off minimum wage. And you know, in some cities like Seattle, if you work in the city limits, minimum wage is $15 an hour. That's minimum wage. $15 an hour, if you work full time of 40 hours a week, okay, that's only $2,400 a month. You cannot live off that. You cannot live off that. Because if you make $2,400 a month, half of it will go towards rent. Then you have to pay for your food. You have to pay for your transportation. You know, like it could be for your gas, your car insurance. And you have to start, depending on your situation, you may have some debts you may have to pay off. So you cannot survive off this. Not possible. I will challenge anybody to this argument. If you tell me $15 an hour is a decent living wage, I challenge you to a debate. It's not possible. So when I see people like in their 20s working for $15 an hour, you know, some of them are just trying to get by as they pursue their careers. So, I mean, I understand that. But if you're 40, you're 50, working for $15 an hour, I know something wrong somewhere. Something's not right. Something's not right. And I'm not, I don't know everyone else's, I don't know everybody's situation. But speaking on a general term, you cannot live off $15 an hour. So when you see someone making $50 an hour, I already know they failed in life. Sorry. I know it sounds harsh to say this, but I'm being honest. Because people don't understand lack of money causes anger, depression, and violence. People don't understand this. Think about it for a second. You're working a job you don't like. Most likely you despise your boss. And you may only like maybe one or two coworkers. So now by the time you leave your job, you're frustrated because you spent 8 hours at a job you do not like. And knowing that you have to go back there the next day. That'll piss anybody off. Literally, piss anybody off. I observe a lot of things because I like to understand how things work. And I'm telling you guys right now that we live in a time where nobody cares anymore. We now live in a new time where people just want to have fun and kick it. Who wants to hear about, oh, my boss, I hate my boss today. See what my boss did. Nah, who wants to hear that shit? Nobody. Nobody wants to hear that stuff anymore. People want to hear about funny stories. People want to hear about things you've done. People want to hear about places you've been to. Nobody wants to hear that you're struggling to make ends meet. If you start telling people those type of stories, I bet you anything on this earth, they are going to avoid you. I bet money on it. They're going to avoid you. You have to understand how life works. So I gave you this example of $15 an hour minimum wage, right? That's in a city of Seattle and some other major cities. But some places, minimum wage is less than $15 an hour. So just imagine living off those wages. Because I'm telling you guys what I've seen. Companies today do not like to hire older workers. I've said it before. This is not a secret. So if you don't have the right job skills, you're pretty much stuck. Some people have decent paying jobs. But, some things happen. Companies downsize. It happens. It's natural. Companies downsize. Or they do budget cuts. People lose their jobs. And now, when they try to apply for another one, because of their age, they may not get callbacks. You see? They may not get callbacks. And now you're stuck with any job that will take you. So you need to understand how things really work out here. And this is why people tend to become more frustrated, because it's like you're trying to do your best to get ahead, but you have so many obstacles in your path. And it's like you're on your own. You're on your own. People don't get it. And if you don't understand how things work by now, you are going to fail in society. There are many people out there, many people in their 40s, 50s, and older, who have experience in these high skilled fields. Like there's some guys out there who are, who work in software technology, information technology and all that other stuff, right? Once they left the workforce or once they got laid off, they try to enter the workforce again. Companies will hire them. They have more experience than the person in their 20s, but companies will hire them. So you need to understand how things work out here, because this is what's causing all the frustration. This is what's causing all of the craziness in society today. Lack of jobs. I mean, there are jobs available, but employers won't hire certain people. And it's very hard to prove discrimination because you don't know their hiring practices. So you can't really prove that this company discriminated against you. You know what I'm talking about? So you need to understand how things work, get a skill that's in demand, and you'll be all right. Let me think. Peace.